Hello everyone, have you ever tried to use an LLM in your Python program? Let's have a look at that together today. For this, we need to have an AWS account. We need also to have permission set up with the correct access, meaning that we need to have a policy where you can access Bedrock resources, because Bedrock is the LLM service from AWS. In my case, I just put all accesses, but depending on your needs, you will have more refined granular access. So it's up to your company's security policy. Let's say we have all the permissions we need. Let's start. For this demonstration, I need to have Boto3 installed because it's the Python package to communicate with AWS services. Second, I need to have my credentials set up. It's one way of authenticating with AWS services. You have to create an access key and a secret key in AWS identity and access management, or you can export also your secret key and your access key ID. In my case, it's in the credentials file. So I have everything set up to be able to discuss with AWS Bedrock and start using models. Let's open an IPython console. First, I need to import Boto3 to be sure I can communicate with AWS services. I will import also the JSON library to serialize my payload, because I will have to send a payload to the service. And I need to instantiate a client to communicate with Bedrock service. So let's go for this, Boto3.client. I have to specify the service name. It's Bedrock runtime. And I have my clients. Nice. Now I need to define the message I want to send to the LLM. Pretty simple. Let's call it messages. Role, you have to define the role in the message. In my case, it's user. You have to define the content of the message you will send to the LLM. And it's in text format. Depending on models, it could also be an image. It can also be an audio. So it's really up to your use case. And I want to ask this question: why does unit testing is important in software programming? And I have defined my message. Now I will call the LLM. Let's call this response, because I will store a response from the model. So I have a method for my client, which is called converse. And in this method, I have to fill the model ID. In this case, we will use a model provided by directly by Amazon, which is called Nova Lite. There are different models. The different models also have different configurations. So if you want to dig on this topic, you can go to the Amazon user guide. It's pretty well defined with a lot of information and all the configuration needed. And you have also some getting started script to help you start the discussion, I would say, with the LLMs. Now we need just to define the model name. Let's use Nova Lite. And the message we need to provide is the messages we need to provide is what we defined just above. And let's have a look at the answer. So everything went well. If it wasn't the case, we would have an exception, but now we don't have an exception. Our response seems to be fine. So here we have our response. Normally we can parse it. Response content, let's say. Content is, what is it? It's a string, isn't dot loads, and you can access the content like this. Output, message. If I do this, I have message, we have the contents now. In the contents, we have several different, it's a list, so we have several dictionary inside. Sorry, we can do this. And here we have a string. If we do print of this, it's better. So here we have our answer from the LLM. Why is unit testing important? Because you have all valid explanation here, and you can iterate as much as you want. Just adapt the message. So you can also try with another message. Let's say why using classes is useful in Python. Then you have to call again the model client.converse with your message, and you can parse the response and see the output of the model. Using classes in Python is useful for supervision, encapsulation, reusability, and so on and so on. So here you are. You have I would say a quick start code to start using LLMs, and you can use them in your software. What you can do, for example, to customize, you can define what's called a system prompt, where you give instructions to the agent to make sure it only answers specific use cases. And you can also add what's called tools, retrieval augmented generative tools. For example, you can add a tool to search in a private database you have set up for your agent to be to have access to a more rich context for its request. I hope you found this demo useful. If it's the case, put a like to this video and let me know in the comments if you have any problem in Python, and we can have a look at that together. See you in the next video. Bye bye.